Check one, check. Hey. Yo. We'll see how that goes. If this gets recorded and logged, this is my first stream. Yo. I don't really know what to start with before I start a run on this game. I'll start by saying this is one of my favorite games that I've been playing a lot. I've logged what seems to be over 32 hours on Steam, probably over 50, 60 on my Switch, and like 15 on my Xbox. I don't know. It's a really fun game to kind of like all around. You'll see, and the more I stream it or make content, you'll know more what it's about. But it's a roguelike action shooter with strategy elements and really fun, fast-paced, ridiculous amount of content. I would say almost endlessly playable. With the hours I've logged, I've only played like the main game mode and haven't even got to the multiplayer. But in the main game mode, the single player, there's like horde modes, like endless type stuff, and the classes. Let's see, we got 8 here. I mostly play within the commando or guardian class subclasses here. We got raider and heavy gunner, riot guard and preacher under the guardian. Engineer, mess with a lot because it's fun. I like the concept of engineer classes since Team Fortress 2 days. Anyway, what's up? My name's Andy. I'm gonna take these off. This will be for more show later. I just got these in the mail. Pit Viper. It's my swag. If the streaming content thing becomes more of a thing, you'll understand my swag, I guess. So within the description it says share romantic tragedies. You know, if people are in the chat and hear me go off about it or ask questions or whatever, especially if you know me, I might post a link to this in my Facebook too, because usually I get some people I know watching it. But if anybody ever sees this, they know, and they know me, they know a lot about my romantic history. It's one of the things that's commonly known about my life struggles, usually involved with almost any struggle in my life. And I'll start to break this down as a prologue, I guess, if this is discussed and this is archived, and then people can understand some sort of back context that I've been homeless probably at least to count on 2 whole hands, more times than I want to remember or can count just thinking about. But started at the age of probably like 3 or 4, which had to do with romance. It wasn't mine, obviously. It was my mother's and my biological father's. And I don't really have any memories before the age of 6, 8, even 10, due to the obvious trauma of living on the streets since I was a toddler. In and out of different homes, had different dads, overcame, you know, kind of like, I would say, heavy abuse. We don't gotta get into that. I love my mom. Times were different in the 90s, early 2000s, but other than that, other people in my life, and the struggle, which you might get to know me if you watch more and I stream more, about being my size and the way that I look since I was young. Other than some learning disabilities that I coped and managed with since I was younger. You know, graduating high school after being homeschooled off and on for so long, graduating normal high school with high honors, I dealt, I think, with it just fine, especially any psychological setbacks, like being diagnosed with PTSD. And I'm going to share this, and I don't really talk about this very often, but especially publicly, the first time I tried to commit suicide was when I was 10 years old. It's documented. That's at least to a doctor's knowledge and my own. So within that whole case was the development of my psychological diagnosis of having at least PTSD. Before that was obviously, ADHD due to my learning disabilities in that realm, and then depression and anxiety, which I coped with. I learned because of the way that I live, fortunately, how to, as a human, not let certain vices, especially, consume me forever till I either die or become the vices, including, which I can get into in the future, probably 3-year coke problem, and the illegal acts that I had performed to obtain said narcotics, unfortunately, that I put behind me, and I was able to avoid prison time and death due to it, but I'm now 2.5 years sober as of January. So that never stopped me. The only thing that's held me back, obviously, and it has to do with trauma, I'm aware of this, but I try to give humanity, not just within the, I want to say just for now to get it out there, word love. I've let people in my life, even after being hardened and growing into manhood, the people that not even just use the word love, but like even business affiliates, or like, in the barber industry, because I am a barber, take my kindness for weakness, my graces for granted, like many chances, and that has to do with the recent breakup. So with all those elements considered into my setbacks in life as to why I'm in my mom's basement at 29 years old again. Before this, I was in this basement for the first time at like 19 years old, briefly, before I just couldn't put up with her now late husband as of a year ago, deal with his abuse, and living with their 4 other stepchildren, my step siblings, and I'm the oldest. I moved out, worked 3 jobs, and then, coming into life at 20 years old, just after moving out, that age, I was like, okay, I'm set now, let's get life on with. Didn't realize until right about then that I might have had interest in being a barber. Was influenced by my barber, who worked at the shop I'm currently at, technically, to follow that path. I'm very happy I did. It's taken me all over the nation. Those stories will come out in the future the more I stream and the more you get to know me, if you don't already know me and you're seeing this. But I got sick of working 3 jobs before that. I was doing third night shifts at gas stations, being a cashier, and before that I was doing retail. I worked at GameStop and electronics and Target, and then a lot of cooking jobs, and I was really good at cooking. I still like it, like line cooking, and nothing gourmet. A little bit at some catering companies, but it was more prep work for that. But I could always go back to that if I want, because it's as a cook, it's more of a craft than a job. But I wanted something, I guess I realized too in my mid-20s, not as glamorous. I didn't want something more glamorous. It was more of like something more dignifying to me, my soul, my spirit. Working in a kitchen is stressful. Anybody that ever has knows, and the whole it's, if you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. It's really kind of true. Stems obviously from that realm and makes sense. But if I ever had to, and the barber industry collapsed again, I would, because I know how to do it. I know how to do it well, and I can make a living. There's plenty of places that people always need to eat, almost, I would say, than a haircut. So I'll never not have a career or a means of survival. But anyways, getting through that into my barber career at the early 20s, I had just gone through another traumatic, abusive relationship with somebody I lived with, female. Non-disclosure either, unless I ever need to. This, I guess, is almost like not a memoir, but a log, a precursor to what might come. And if you see this and you know me, it's because of the post that I made yesterday having to do with my just 48 hours ago girlfriend that I had. And I realized at that age, 20, 21, when that relationship got really abusive, literally, physically, we can get into the details of that story sometime in the future of her actual infliction upon me. Realized at that age that, you know, I was letting love get in my way and stop me from being myself. I had people slandering me even just around that same time, defaming me, still abusing me, doubting me, leaving me for dead. Yeah, at the age of 21 and or 22, it might have been. Yeah, it was 22 when I moved out with her, and then so, you know, the realization of my own demons and the nasty underbelly of mankind would turn on its other side and show itself to me in what I thought it could be, but I always denied it. I always kind of will, just because, like, if we live for continue to fight through our battles and struggles, and we aren't dead yet. It's another thing I like to say. It's like, you know, I cheated death many times, just out of whether it be accidents, pure danger, whatever it may be, health. If we aren't dead yet, why not love? Why not have compassion and grace? To an extent. So I kept forgiving these people, and if they turned on me because I had enough of them and just said, like, hey, you don't have to be this evil, because, you know, and I'd show them through my devotion and sacrifice, never mind the grace of myself not ever inflicting the same horrible things they've done to me. Like, you don't have to be that way, like, otherwise let me go. And, you know, sometimes in certain ways and others, like this past recent relationship, someone would not apologize, atone, or even acknowledge things they did. They kind of just, like, you know, blasé, like, it is what it is kind of thing. And that's just how there's a part of my nature in that whole forgiving and loving side of myself that just leave into that part, and the other part of myself looking at me like, yo, what are you doing? Like, stop. It's not going to do you any good. Keep forgiving them, especially if they're not even going to apologize or acknowledge the abuse or anything wrong that they did. But that's also why I never had it in me to, never mind my size, I'm 6'9" and all that. And then after, especially getting face tattoos, dressed like a punk. I've always been into heavy music. Like, I can't, you know. And I've always said this too when I relate to the story to people. When I'm in these hells and I have to explain to people, like, this is what she's doing, or this is what my family member's doing to me, and they're like, you know, they give me a face like, oh, it ain't right, that don't seem right, like, until they believe me, or if they believe me first, then they have to question some things. You know, if you know people enough, even if you don't, when you see somebody's face, the doubt, confusion, the disarray, especially if you're unloading a lot of traumatic information onto them, no matter how on point it is, then when I see that, I have to literally be like, well, look at me. Like, there's just no way around it. If I laid a hand on somebody, forced sexual activity upon somebody, people would know. There's no way around that. So getting into that, I had done 2 nights in a cell at police departments. Actually, for that one, the first time I remember being in an abusive relationship, well, as an adult. Because before her, I was engaged, my high school sweetheart. She cheated on me. That's a whole other story. Treated me like shit. Left me for dead. That girl was the second charge I got for assault, and it was domestic, because it was our roommate, who was her high school friend's father of her newborn child. And I launched myself at him because he was my height, coming at her even after her abuse in the kitchen, because they were talking shit about me, because that day I was sick and I didn't clean, despite us cleaning up after their messes for months. And I heard them, and then she finally heard it because they didn't realize she was home, and she went out to yell at him, and he got in her face and saying, like, what are you gonna do? You know, whatever. He's about 6'7"-ish, 6'6", and I'm 6'9", so I'm like, oh, you know, 5'5", pretty woman who was 21, I was 22. Like, you don't do that no matter what. Because even before that, you know, in my childhood, since growing up homeless, off and on, it was because of the abuse of a man onto, even if it's not a loved one, like, I was around a lot of people, like, a lot of shitty people, unfortunately, like, that, like, were shitty men, harming women. So I never stood for it. So the second time I was arrested and charged, by the way, record's clean now. Either there were no case, or expunged. um, I like launched myself. Superman punch. Like, our bedroom was like 100 feet away from theirs. In the middle of our apartment, they were there, and I just like ran from the bed, even though I was sick, and just like leaped in the air, and just clocked them in the head because, you know, never mind like if he did hit her, but like you just don't do that to women. And so I like to tell people when they're like, even if they don't say anything about me, like, or have any expression on their face, like, obviously, one, like I said, look at me, like, if I hurt anybody, people are going to know about it. And also being literally trained in mixed martial arts and defending myself in the streets for years, I tell them, like, yo, I can't hurt anybody. It's not going to happen. Like, I won't get away with it. Like, it's like, and I don't have it in me. And then when I go from that, I segment into, like, also the 2 times I ever got in trouble with the law was for beating up men for being shitty to women. The first time was my own brother when we were teenagers, because he was being a dickhead and I wasn't having it, and he thought he'd be smart. He had to arrest me, despite, and the cop even said, like, both times too, like, yeah man, like, I'm sorry, we just gotta do what we gotta do. We would have done the same fucking thing, you know. So all of my nature through love and connection to human beings is always through compassion and understanding. A lot of it has to do with, I would say, you know, because I understand being misunderstood. Even being a larger kid with learning disabilities at like a very young age, people like looking at me like, why is he acting like that? He's like 10 years old, and I was like 6, and I was like, no, he's just a foot and a half taller than most kids. Like, what the fuck? And then when I realized my personality in my teen years, dressing like a goth metal kid, whatever it was, you know, and then getting my tattoos, my style. Even when I was, and we'll get into this in the future because I want to start playing, if anybody's watching. Even when I was making 6 figures, I was fortunate to get this opportunity that I took and sacrificed a lot for it. That we'll get into the other part of the story in the future. But like, in 4 months after starting that opportunity, and like sleeping in a basement with, waking up in rat shit and no bathroom just to take that opportunity, in 4 months I started making 6 figures. So I took all the money that I could and got myself a penthouse apartment in that same district, the most luxurious district in, I would say, probably New England, and at least Boston, Massachusetts. It's the Seaport district, and had a lot of celebrity friends. Actually, even before that, because I was in the nightlife as a bouncer as well as a barber before that shop. Then I had clients that were of big status, like the CEO of General Electric. A lot of big people, like, and I never really got doubt from them, but it was my peers and abused by them. It was always my peers, like colleagues, having my name on their mouth, even if it wasn't in front of me, even while I was working at a very small shop. It was like a closet. Like, it was supposed to be a boutique. I don't know the word, but bougie, like, shop in front of these people. They would like, I'd been threatened to be killed by one of the barbers twice, and he wasn't fired yet. So, you know, getting to the end of the story, I'll get back into some of the points and other things, because it's a live stream. If I need to make like some sort of like series about talking about this, because the reason why I'm doing this today is to not only justify but honor my post I made yesterday on my social media that everybody's asking me about, but like, I know that what being understood is like, but somehow let people take my kindness for weakness too far when it comes to love or understanding, because I want to show them they can be understood so they don't have to act that way. It's almost like I want want to see the better in people and to see even if I die, like, not that I'll die a martyr and know, 6 feet under, that generations were influenced by me to do better, but like I would like to know that obviously if I die, like, people thought differently of me than how they treated me, especially while I was alive, or that didn't get the chance to treat me, but like were like, oh, that was an important person, like, because he went on to show certain people, not that abusers are always right, but not that they deserve chances, too many especially, but there's different ways to connect with people and love and prosper and grow. Um, and through my own pains and struggles and tribulations, trials, and sacrifices, I still am the person I am today, capable of doing what I did before making 6 figures. By the way, again, left that job because an abusive relationship that I thought was a smart idea, to live with her in another apartment and go to a different shop because the shop was abusive. But if I get to another shop and I make 6 figures just fine, there's a few around the nation that have offered me that opportunity. I just didn't take them at the time because I was at the one in Boston. If I can do that again, I still get people, even then, I still get people telling me that I inspired them because they knew what I came from. But still get people telling me that, like, you're a rock, you're our inspiration, like this and that. I gotta remember, like, not to put all of that, take all that energy I put into accomplishing those things, really be on top before I lose it all again because of love or an addiction. I mean, God forbid that. I'm gonna say I won't really touch heavy drugs ever again. It's just nasty to me. But I just want people to know, this to go on record, that, like, from my own, with conviction, my own voice, my own face, that unless you obviously, like, corner a dog for long enough and starve them, not only does their psyche change, but they know what you are at that point. They know how nasty you are, and then you deserve the bark back. You deserve the bite of your hand that you fed to them this way and this way. They know that there might not be a way out of that cage again, and they can say anything. And that, at that point, there's nothing wrong with that wounded animal. Because that's what you made of that person, as an analogy. That's just what that is. Like, there's no way around it. And if you can't hide your tracks well enough from the very beginning, especially if you go in continuously into many relationships in people's lives, whether it be romantic or friendships, and you just run amok, it's gonna catch up to you. And I'm putting this on record now because I'm not gonna let anybody ever again defame me or slander me. It's been a long time since anybody tried. I'm still here. After being successful and losing everything again for love. And never mind the times I've been arrested for beating up dudes and being a bouncer and security guard. But, like, countless men I've smacked the dog shit out of for fucking, man, I can't even, I'll go on forever, but people need to know that, not that I'm 100% innocent in a way, but I'm just. If I defended myself in any way, and if it was an outlandish remark, anybody wants to use any of that against me, like, that I'm referring to in these statements, it's because hopefully they could hide their tracks well enough. But I'm good at keeping records and very good memory. A lot of people that have been involved with me know that too well. Someone gets scared. That's why they, like, try different manipulation tactics, like this last one. Anyways, I'm alive. I'm well. I want to play synthetic. Fuck it. Let's go.
Ready.
So heavy gunner, first level. Out. So the strategy in it is the randomized layouts being taken to your advantage depending on the class, the reload times, which I think could be disabled because it has a modular difficulty system, meaning you could add or take away certain traits of the difficulty of the run that you're doing to roll the percentage of the effects of what they are added or subtracted of, and I think one of them is the reloading. I'm not too sure because I haven't put it on or off yet. I just read it and it has something to do with the reloading times, and I was like, I'm not trying to like make it too easy. Plus, that reloading thing is just it's a main mechanic for me. Yeah, there's like things like that, like the snipers will drop those. There's RNG with there's like little hub stations where you can upgrade your weapons, buy items that are passive or activated. Weapon crates, which you'll see. But you gotta just, I mean, especially with the roguelite, you gotta like make the right decisions. Almost predict like you're playing poker, I don't know, blackjack. I don't really play cards too much or at all. Never played poker if I could, remember correctly. I really don't think I've ever played poker, but so I'm gonna end this stream after this run, by the way, if anybody's watching ever. I gotta go say what's up to the pub. Black Berserk Charm, I've never had that. I don't even like the Magnum or the grenades. What the fuck? Where's the map? I've never seen the map. Excuse me? Easy breezy, baby. Divine, let's go already. Whew. Oh, wow. I don't think I ever got the divine roll for this one. Jesus Christ. phone trap. Wait, is it in this level? Did I fuck that up? I think I did. No, we're gonna save the money. Erased. I think I'm gonna end this stream now, actually. But hey, if you ever tuned in, or this gets logged, thanks for watching. Appreciate y'all. Whoever's around, whoever cares, whoever believes. Anyways, listen to Rose Gold Blindfold. That's my band. Roll call for the Rabbit Ones, baby. We got new shit coming out. You ready for that? I got a lot to say.